pretty soon, and we'll see. It's right now a little bit in progress, but pretty far along. It gets us everything we needed to get.
And on the back of that line by Donald Trump, the American president, today Davos is talking less about unbridled ambition. It's talking more about who blinked first. And it seems like it is Trump. Good evening. Welcome to The Big Question on NDTV Profit. I'm Vikram Oza. Just days after escalating tensions over Greenland, President Donald Trump has pulled back. He did that in Davos. In his speech, he's ruled out military force. He's shelving tariff threats against Europe. And he's unveiling what he now calls an Arctic security framework. This has happened after talks with NATO. Now, is this a tactical retreat? Is this a calculated reset by Trump? That's definitely one question. Because this climb down did not happen in isolation. It came hours after the European Parliament suspended work on that very key US-EU trade deal. And this happened weeks after European leaders refused to yield to what many described as tariff-driven pressure politics. Or in one word, many were calling it that, bullying. Europe, it seems, has said no. It's a strong pushback from the European leaders. And it seems Trump has blinked. NATO chief Mark Rutte has praised that move. He's calling it a step towards addressing American security concerns in the Arctic, but within clearly defined red lines. And while Germany's Friedrich Merz has endorsed Trump's move, he is still maintaining that force is unacceptable. Listen to what both leaders have said after Trump's retreat on Greenland in Davos.
President Trump is the one who broke the deadlock with Putin, started to negotiate, which was crucial because he was the only one who was able to do that from his position when he came to office in January. And he is pushing with Steve Witkoff, with Jared Kushner, with Marco Rubio, endlessly, of course with help from many Europeans, Johnson Power, I see here, and so many others in this room, working day in, day out to get the Ukraine issue solved, to get the war brought to an end, a sustainable end, where Russia will never ever try to attack again.
I welcome President Trump's remarks from last night. This is the right way to go. This is the right way because any threat to acquire European territory by force would be unacceptable.
So you're seeing it in what they're saying. They are more accepting, more welcoming of Trump's chain stance, but yet there is a warning in what they're saying. So the question is, has coordinated European pushback finally worked with Trump? Has Trump realized as well on his part that the Americans cannot afford to risk a trade rupture with its largest economic partner, which is Europe, and this at a time when America is competing with China? So that's the second part of the question. Now let's bring India into the picture. As Trump is recalibrating with Europe, Brussels is moving faster with New Delhi. The India-EU Free Trade Agreement, that FTA, the so-called mother of all deals, is on the cusp of completion, is what we're hearing. Leaders are landing in Delhi next week, and they are going to seal this, is what we are getting from media reports. In fact, a 2 billion consumer market is what we're talking about, which is nearly a quarter of global GDP. So there you have Europe, which is courting America as far as that FTA is concerned. That was the thing in the past, but right now they put it on hold and put that pressure on America. At the same time, Europe is gunning for India and a trade deal. How quickly it will happen? Very close. It could be next week. What are the Americans saying to this? Well, Donald Trump was asked on the sidelines at Davos after that speech, and he said Modi is a close friend and he's hoping that a good deal will come through with India. So yes, the Americans seem to be courting India as well. How far they'll go? Well, the statements coming through from the American ambassador to India, Sergio Gore, is a telling sign as well in recent times, and he's trusted as an aide by Trump to be able to get this deal going is going to be an important piece. So how exactly is this going to play out now? Now that Europe has said no to Trump, Trump has blinked, at least so far. We don't know the exact reasons. But now, as far as deals for India are concerned, one with Europe, another in the making with America, are we close to a good deal? Can we get a good deal now that these geopolitics issues are now facing us the way they are? Let's discuss this in a debate, and let me introduce you to our panel on this. Well, to discuss this threadbare, let's have the panel. Former Ambassador Dr. Deepak Vohra is joining us. He's along with Monish Thorengbaum. He's fellow at Chintan Research Foundation, CRF. And Mazen Salab is also with us, head of market research at MH Markets in Dubai. Great to have you, gentlemen. So, Dr. Deepak Vohra, if I can ask you, Trump is ruling out military action on Greenland. He's pausing tariffs on 8 European nations. He's unveiling an Arctic framework. You think this is a real climb down by Trump, or do you think he's just changing tactics?
Well, thank you very much, sir. Always be a pleasure to be with you on your channel. I've just heard your brilliant exposition. Of course, my 2 other colleagues, welcome to them. I'm far away from the nation's capital, but I've been following what's going on. Let me just tell you, sir, he wants Greenland, he'll take Greenland. Whether you call it a Greenland framework agreement, whether you call it a security agreement, give it any name you want, paint it any color you want. He's going to position American troops there. He's going to take control. That's his style. And the Europeans better understand that all this nonsense about we've got a deal and he's blinked, he's not blinked at all. He's not in the habit of blinking. He has struck down those tariffs. Yes, that is true. But that's because he wants to tell these guys, let's find this agreement, which is going to be Arctic security, and I'm going to be the king of that agreement. Let me also tell you something else, sir, although it's not directly related to what we are discussing. The European Union chaps are coming, those 2 fellows, the lady and the fellow are coming here, European Commission, European Council, for the mother of all trade deals as they talk about it. And they're also going to sign an India-EU defense strategic partnership. And this lady who announced it, sir, please listen to what I'm saying. The lady who announced it, I think her name is Kaja Kallas. She used to be president or prime minister of Estonia for a little while. These tiny fellows who are in the EU tend to be the most abrasive. And what does she say? That this deal, which focuses on maritime security, cybersecurity, and counterterrorism, is important. It's an existential issue for the survival of the European Union because of India's resilience. This same woman in September last year was blasting us for participating in those military exercises with Belarus and Russia, saying Brussels uses a carrot and stick policy with Delhi. What do they think? We are school children? That you use a carrot and stick policy, sir.
Why do you think the stance has changed? Why do you think that stance has changed?
Because a very good question. Why? Because they have lost America. America said, go fly a kite, go join the International Kite Flying Festival in India.
But don't the Americans need the Europeans? That trade deal is an important one for America too, don't you think? They're the largest trade partners.
The Europeans need America much more for their security. Sir, there is this board of pieces. What is that thing in Gaza called? Which Mr. Trump is promoting, President Trump, some peace, something like that.
The board of peace.
What has Vladimir Putin said? All right, I'll give you $1 billion, but take it from my frozen funds in the United States. And if that is done, this entire business of the Europeans, we'll use the money for this, we'll use the money for that, whatever $300 billion, whatever they're frozen, it goes out the window. Putin is a past master at this kind of thing, just as Donald Trump is. So Europe is now neither idhar ka nor udhar ka. They don't really know what to do. Do you think Trump is going to honor this and allow Greenland to retain its autonomy? No, sir. He wants it, he'll get it. I rest my case.
Monish Thorengbaum, what do you make of what Ambassador is saying over here? He's saying that these are tactics that are at play, whether it's on the Russian side, whether we're talking about the Board of Peace, or we're talking about the tariff pressure that was built on Europe. But Europe this time has refused to buckle, even suspending work on that trade deal between the Americans and the Europeans. So this entire episode, does it show that coordinated pushback actually is working against Trump?
Thank you, Bikram, for having me. I think, I might sound a little different from what Ambassador Vohra has said, but I feel that, the things that have happened, this game of chicken or who blinks first and who blinks next, has been a part and parcel of the tariff games and other things that have taken place in the last 1 year or two. This has happened with between US and China as well. So I think, at the end, it's really a question about how power symmetry and asymmetry works in this negotiation. Who negotiates from a position of strength and weakness, and how that shifts so rapidly. I think at one point this is a signal of how, despite unrivaled power both at the economic and military level, there could always be limits to the exercise of power in the international system, whether it comes from the EU, whether it comes from India as well, and whether it comes from China. I think we have to wait and watch as to how Trump's what they are calling as the staircase model of negotiation really works out. In terms of the kind of push and pull that is going ahead. So I think it's a phase. It's a moment to sort of like see in terms of how each party is moving ahead and going back and forth into this. And I feel we have to wait and watch as to how each party is going to sort of leverage in this moment of both risks and opportunity that is presented before us.
Like you said, this is push and pull. Mazen Salah, from the position that you are and you're watching the markets, how are you reading this? Because this is an important development for the markets as well. Washington, can it really afford this full-blown trade fight with the European Union? Which is why perhaps we are seeing a rollback on that kind of aggression that Trump was showing.
Thank you for having me today. I think the markets have already given a message to Mr. Trump 2 days before, when the stock market in America and the global indices fell sharply by more than 2%. So it was a message to Mr. Trump that, Mr. Trump, we may like what you're doing in terms of politics for America, but we don't like the political chaos. So it was a real message. And I think it was mainly barked in this kind of a change. And Mr. Trump told that he does not want to make a direct fight. But again, as Dr. Dibak said, the fight is not yet over. And what Mr. Trump, I think, has done, he just changed the tactics. So I think that the markets right now have not yet priced the full risk in terms of geopolitics. And what's happening right now, we can see that there's a kind of shifting in the world order. And this kind of shifting in the world order is not going to be like immediate or quick. Because in this like problem the global leaders are facing right now, Europe is the weak like geography here, and Europe proved to global leaders that it is not in the position of leadership. And now the leadership is not only by America, but America wants more partners, including India. So I think India will be a very, let's say, winner in this game in terms of politics and in terms of economics. So yes, the markets are okay today, but I don't think that the markets really realize the full risk until now, because we have to know what exactly the details of the agreement between EU leaders and America. And at the same time, we need to know how does Mr. Trump will approach again, like new trade deals with the Europeans. Now, he's not going to impose tariffs on 8 European countries, which is okay. But I think the tariffs were always like a way, a tactic used by Mr. Trump. It was not the goal by Mr. Trump. It was just only the way.
So if it wasn't the goal,
you're
saying this was a tactic, Ambassador Vora, what do you think Trump is going to do next? Already he's called Denmark ungrateful. He's hinting at a future golden dome for Greenland. If you're saying that Europe is not in a solid position, and Mazen Salah seems to hold that view as well, and that's what the markets are indicating as well, then what is Trump's next tactic going to be? Is this a pause, or are we seeing some amount of predictability, at least in the way that he's acting?
So he is predictably unpredictable. He likes to create that impression that you never know what I'm going to do next. But he wants Greenland, he'd take it. He wanted Venezuela, he took it. He brought 2 illegal immigrants from Venezuela. The president and his wife put them in jail. What did the world do? Bad boy, bad boy. Europe just shut up. Europe kept quiet. Did any European issue a statement? Thank you very much. And now when Europe is under attack, they all get, oh, what's happening? Remember, sir, what my foreign minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, the best in the universe, had said? Europe thinks that its problems are the world's problems, but the world's problems are not its problems. America has got the message loud and clear. Europe is divided hopelessly. Europe has no military strength. Europe's economic strength is also declining, and there is a clash between the big boys and the little fellows. He's going to take advantage. This agreement, this deal that he's signing on Greenland, which is Arctic security, he's doing everything in the name of security. Venezuela was in the name of security. Gaza is in the name of security. Iran is the name of security. He's doing all this, sir. He is going to have an agreement on Arctic security with America as the kingpin, sir. Have no doubt about that.
And where does this place India? Because Mr. Salah has also brought in how this places India, which is, of course, trying to get a trade deal with Europe, and this could happen next week. And the American deal is in the balance, and it has been for a while, and there has been so much push and pull. Where does this place India if this is going to be an ongoing conflict that we haven't seen the end of?
So we are going to get our deal with the European Union. They can't do without us. That woman who had threatened us with all kinds of things now says that India's resilience is an existential support for the European Union. Suddenly changed her tune totally from hectoring us to mollycoddling us, to doing puch, with I love you kind of thing. As far as the trade deal with the US is concerned, of course the US wants it. China, forget about it. Russia, forget about it. The European Union doesn't have the money. I am the market, sir. They are coming to.
So is this the market, or are there other reasons why they are seeking this trade deal with India?
Sir, isn't Donald Trump a businessman? He wants the market. He talks of a deal. Everything is a deal. He has lunch, it's a deal. He goes out to play golf, it's a deal. Remember, was it in July last year? I'm sure my colleagues will remember. We had that Turnbull golf course in Scotland with Trump owns. He signed a deal with this lady, whatever her name is, the president of the European Commission. It unraveled within a few weeks. The whole thing was, we do this, we do that. Everybody came and said, oh, brilliant, brilliant. We've all managed to subdue Trump. No, you can't do it. He does what he wants, and he'll continue to do what he wants.
So in your understanding then, Monish Thurangbam, who needs a trade deal more with India right now? Is it Europe or is it the US?
Both.
I agree with both needs a trade deal with India. And, in many of the Western publications, India has often been pictured and brought out as some kind of a swing state, but I don't buy that argument to a large extent. India is very much positioned in its place where it should be. It knows its economic as well as security interests in the Indo-Pacific as well. And I think it is in interest of both the United States and the EU as well to, engage in negotiating new terms of engagement with India. And I think India will do so from the vantage point of our own interests as to what serves our interests. And I think that's the lens through which our country will see both these arrangements. And I think there is astuteness, despite all the bravado and despite all the dramatics, there is astuteness in both European Union as well as in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
As to how important the Indian market and Indian partnership is for both of them.
Ambassador Vora, you agree with that? That both of them need us equally right now? The Indian market is going to be very essential to them. Like you mentioned, Trump is always seeking a good business deal. But for the Europeans as well, it is a lot about survival at this stage. And like you're pointing out, they've changed their stance very dramatically. But in terms of priority for them to be able to crack this deal, who ranks India higher and why? Is it just the market or is there more to this?
Well, Donald Trump calls Prime Minister Modi his great friend. He's a great guy. We are going to have a great deal. The European Union says the mother of all deals. They've all changed their position, sir. They think they can flatter us. They don't know we are the children of Chanakya. We don't get flattered by this kind of nonsense that they talk about. Both of them need us. European Union, sir, please do a count. 26 countries or 27, whatever. How many of them produce motor cars? You'll see. Where are they going to sell those motor cars? United States won't buy them. European is a limited market. China says get lost. Russia says don't even talk to me. That leaves me, sir. They want to sell their stuff to me. And I'm not going to be taken in so easily, sir. We have our own industry to protect. We have our farm sector. We have a dairy sector. We will sign the deal. The deal is coming very close to conclusion. There are one or two issues my colleagues in the ministry tell me. Those will be sorted out.
But Ambassador, the easy question for investors would be, why don't we have a deal just yet? Why is there so much delay in cracking the deal? If the Americans want us so badly, then why haven't we signed this deal?
Because Trump has some very stupid advisors. They don't understand international geoeconomics. Forget about geopolitics. They've been talking about there's some Bizarro fellow, some Peter Bizarro or something like that is his name, who kept saying we are a laundromat. India's a laundromat for Russian oil money. What kind of nonsense? He shut up now. He was told to shut up. They want the deal, sir. But they have painted themselves into a corner, and we have got what we wanted. I believe that this deal is going, again, I keep using the word deal. This agreement is going to help both countries, probably help America. more than it will for us. We have signed several ETAs, FTAs, free trade agreements, comprehensive partnership, this, that, and the other. We are still assessing whether they have been beneficial to us or harmful to us. But as far as we are concerned, we have experience, and I think what we are going to sign with both sides, EU and the United States, will be in our favor, sir.
Mazen Salab, you mentioned very clearly that markets are sending out very clear signals to Trump. On the back of that tariff pause as well, the markets reacted pretty positively. What is the expectation of the market right now with the tariffs and the kind of deals that America is about to strike?
That's a very good question, because 2025 proved to everyone that, yes, the global economy can grow quickly, and they can avoid the consequences of tariffs. That's what we have seen in 2025. And I think if everything goes well, and if we are going to have a good trade deals between America and Europe and America and India, then I think the stock market globally, even in India and even in Europe, are going to have another good year in 2026. As I said, the underlying risks are not yet over. And I think I agree with Dr. Dibak, because like right now, Trump is a trade. I mean, he is a man of deals. And I think the Indian story is not yet started. I still think that India booming is not yet started. We are just still in the early beginning. So India is going to have a long way of growth actually in the coming years. So the thing is, yes, we are fine right now with central banks are going to cut rates in 2026. So I think we're going to have more liquidity, cheaper liquidity to the market. This is going to help again. The only thing that matters to the market will be the geopolitical risk. And if the global leaders right now can avoid it, then I think we're going to have another maybe positive year 2026 to avoid the mistakes by the monetary policy by the central banks mainly in the second half of this year.
Right, but Mazen, India's trade numbers showing that $41 billion surplus with the Americans and $25.8 billion with the EU. So when you talk about leverage and the standpoint over there, same question to you. Who needs India more right now? What do you say?
I think both of them, they need India. But I think right now, European Union needs India more than America. They are in a hurry more than America, simply because Europe is the weak part of this game. It's not. Donald Trump is an outsider. And as Dr. Dibak said, you cannot predict what he is going to do, because he's an outsider in politics and he's a man of deeds. So yes, America needs India absolutely for political reasons and for economical reasons. But I think Europe needs more, because Europe right now is still facing a very ongoing tough war with Russia, and they don't have money actually. The money is not with the European Union right now. The money is in America, India, China. So all these countries have money, but Europe is, since it's the weakest spot right now, I think Europe will be in hurry, considering the last political clash with America, which makes Europe more vulnerable to global order. I think they will be in hurry more to have sign a deal with India rather than or faster than America.
Talking about the world order, Ambassador, Europe is still defending institutions like the UN, like the WTO, like NATO. Trump, on the other hand, prefers the one-on-one deals, the transactions. So is Europe trying to fight and save the old system, or do you think they'll have to quietly adapt to Trump's rules?
As we say, their strength has gone, their money has gone, their arrogance has not gone. You are trying to defend a system that is outdated, institutions of a bygone era for bygone ideas. This UN Secretary General, that doddering old fellow, he has said this. It's an 80-year-old institution. Which 80-year-old thing, sir, do you have in your house? Don't look at me, I'm 74, that you still find useful. You don't. We have to get rid of it. But Europe, which participated in the creation of institutions like the United Nations, Bretton Woods, etc., to preserve their hegemony over the world, till America said, sorry, we are going to focus on decolonization. That's the issue. All this about save succeeding generations from the scourge of war is utter nonsense. Over 100 kinetic wars are taking place today. The UN has failed miserably, sir. The European Union is trying to keep it going in the belief that they still have some influence on world affairs. They don't, sir.
Monish, yes, taking away from the point that Ambassador is making, this Greenland episode is fitting Trump's idea of a board of peace. Power first and then deals. Are we watching that old global order giving way to the kind that is driven by tariffs and bilateral pressure?
I think, we are at the very tipping point of that transition that we have been talking about for so long, right?
Yes.
In the geopolitics, geoeconomics, and also technological transition. And I think India has been at the very forefront of asking for reforms in global institutions and multilateral institutions that had run out its time and that was no longer relevant in the present circumstances. I think what we can probably hope for is that in this moment of crisis of multilateralism and all the risks that we are seeing, there is some hope, a silver lining for a new system to emerge. There will be a lot of pain before the gain. And I think there will be a lot of storm before we see some kind of stabilization. But in that, I think we should brace ourselves, tighten our belts, and see our opportunities in terms of reshaping and playing a much more important role in terms of the new world order that is surely to come in the times to come. But there will be a storm before it settles down.
Well, it certainly seems like India is emerging as this swing power in a more transactional, in a multipolar world, and we'll have to see exactly how that plays out and how India seizes that opportunity. But Trump may not have changed. The world is adapting right now, at least. Europe is pushing back. Washington has recalibrated, like we're hearing. Economics, yes, but not emotion. Now, we're talking about limits getting set over here, but Greenland may be off the table, at least for the moment, but the uncertainty is certainly not, like, again, is being pointed out in this discussion. What is clearer is India's position, negotiating with Europe for certainty, engaging the US for scale, and doing both from this position of growing leverage. Whether India wins big on both deals remains to be seen, but in a more transactional world, the ability to balance power, that may be the biggest win of all. My thanks to my excellent panel, Monish Thurungbam, Dr. Deepak Vora, Mazen Salhab. Thank you for joining us with your insights.
Thank you.
Very important to have this discussion. And thank you for making the time.
Thank you.
And that's the big question tonight. Of course, there are more developments that we'll keep you abreast of, but the big questions will keep rising and we'll keep trying to find the answers. For the moment, from me, Vikram Oza, and the entire team, thank you for joining us. Good evening.